It's time to bring out the supercharger wine on the Q5, so I'm going to be doing that by installing a CTS intake. And here's the CTS intake. This actually here is from my B8 S4 that I recently sold. CTS said that the intake is actually a direct fit from an S4 to the Q5 with the supercharged 3-liter engine. So I kept it from my old S4 that I recently sold, and we'll be installing it onto the Q5. Now let's just get straight to it and get this guy installed. Now when you purchase the CTS intake brand new, it is not set up ready to go yet. You will still need to put it all together before it's ready to install onto the car. You can check out my intake install video on the S4 to see how I put it together, or I will actually just show you real quick what you would do to put it all together. So you got two hose clamps, one on this side and one on this side. This side here goes onto the intake, and this side here with the nipple will have the coupler with the reducer here, as you see there, and then the extension for the vacuum hose. This is actually an additional piece that I purchased from a local auto parts store to be able to connect the stock vacuum hose to the supplied vacuum hose from the CTS intake there with the larger hose clamp. Then you have a little small SAI breather filter here. Gets clamped onto this little bracket. And the intake shield here, I think it comes in two pieces. You're gonna have to bolt this little funnel piece or like a little elbow piece onto the larger main shield with these little screws right here. And then you have a bunch of weather stripping or like rubber, I don't know what you call these, that you need to attach to the specific corner. So you got one long one here. You just have to match the size to each corner. But yeah, so if you guys want to go with this CTS intake as well, I'll put the link down below in the description. Now let's get this guy installed. Remove the top engine cover by just carefully popping it off. Loosen up this hose clamp here that is at the throttle body. It's a 7mm socket. Remove this little vacuum line hose right here that goes into the intake hose. Move this little EVAP hose here off of the intake hose by just pushing it off. Remove this fuel line here off of the intake hose, off of this little clip. Okay, now there's two clips that holds this end of the intake hose into the air box. You got one right here, and you got one down here. Just pop the clip off to allow you to take the whole intake hose off. Now we should be able to take the intake hose off. I usually start on this side. Now remove this portion of the stock intake snorkel off. Be careful with the clips. Should be able to take it out with some slight pressure. After the snorkel piece is removed, the intake box is almost able to come out. You just have to remove the secondary air hose that's connected to the bottom of the intake on this side off. Not fun trying to take that guy off because it's pretty difficult, but in general, this intake box should just be able to pop out of the two little slots that the grommets pop into. So here's the secondary air intake hose. You got to squeeze two sides and then pull it off of the intake box. Now the intake box can come out. We need to remove the stock airbox bracket that is on the fender side here off so that we can mount the bracket that holds the secondary air breather filter on here. It's a T30 Torx. If you guys are finding this video to be helpful so far, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to stay updated on videos like these that could possibly help you guys out on future installs. Thanks. Now let's get back to installing that intake. Install the bracket using the same 230 bolts. Install the secondary air hose into the bottom of the bracket. Until you hear a click. Install the breather onto the bracket with a 6mm socket or a flathead screwdriver. To be able to install the heat shield, we're going to need to borrow the two grommet on the bottom of the stock air box and install it onto the bottom of the heat shield to be able to go into the slots down here. So for these, you can just lift and pop and pull them off, and then just pop them on the heat shield. Now we can install the heat shield. Pop them into their slots. Install the CTS intake hose onto the throttle body. Slide it in. Tighten it down, the hose clamp with the 8mm socket. And then connect your extended vacuum hose to the stock vacuum line. Like I said earlier, I have this connector that I purchased from the local auto parts store because the connector that CTS supplied doesn't fit the stock hose, and this one fits both. So I got this from a local auto parts store, which was like an assortment of vacuum hose connector. Now we can finalize the intake install by installing the intake filter. Just tighten it down with the 8mm wrench socket. You want to tighten it down pretty tight, but not too tight where you're going to break the plastic off from the filter, because it's pretty somewhat common for this to basically get loose and come off of the intake pipe. And that completes the install of the CTS intake. Now let's get some sound clips. And there it is. Hopefully that can help you guys out. Link down below in the description if you guys want to go with the CTS intake too. One last thing I forgot to install, the top engine cover. If you guys have any further questions about the install, just comment it down below and I will try my best to help you guys out. Now, if you guys missed the video where I replaced the water pump on the Q5, make sure to go and check it out right here, and also subscribe to my channel right here. Thanks.